Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned a robbery detail. A watch salesman tells you his sample case has been stolen. He says he knows the men who did it. Your job? Find them.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, October 4th. It was cool in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Chief of Detectives Thad Brown. My name's Friday. We're on our way into the office, and it was 7:46 a.m. when we got to room 27A. Robbery.
I'll check the book.
All right. Anything for us?
No. Say you took Faye to the movies last night.
Well?
Yeah, darn good double bill. Mystery and a comedy. Sure had me fooled.
What?
The mystery had me fooled. I never can figure out who done it.
Yeah.
It was this rich society girl.
Mm-hmm.
She lived in a penthouse, top floor, real modern kind of glass.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, we found her lying outside in the roof garden part, and the doors were all locked, and the police had to break them down to get in. As soon as they got in...
Yes, sir.
I'd like to report a robbery. Is this the right place?
Yes, sir. You want to sit down?
Oh, thanks. My name's Liggins, Russell Liggins.
Would you spell it, please?
Yeah, it's Liggins. Liggins.
Mm-hmm. This is Frank Smith. My name's Friday.
I'm pleased to meet you.
How you doing?
I suppose you tell us what happened, Mr. Liggins.
Be okay to smoke?
Sure, go ahead.
You fellas care for a cigarette?
Yeah, thank you. Here, I have a light. Frank?
Thanks.
Thank you. Well, it was my own fault to begin with. It just wasn't using my head.
Uh-huh.
Company ought to fire me. I wouldn't blame them if they did.
What company is that?
Sentinel Watch Company up in Seattle.
I see.
It's a new outfit. They import movements from Japan and put them in cases over here and wholesale them, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I'm one of their head salesmen. I came down for the Jewelers Convention.
I see.
The convention ended yesterday, and I was supposed to leave for home this morning, 9 o'clock plane. I guess I have to take a later flight now.
Yes, sir.
Boy, of all the dumb stunts, practically handed him my sample case on a silver platter.
That's
Over
all?
100 watches. Our best stuff. A lot of them in jeweled cases. Company wanted to make a good impression, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Where'd the robbery take place, Mr. Liggins?
Front of the hotel, for all intents and purposes, that is.
Which hotel is
A
that?
Greystone, that's where I've been stopped.
I see. Do you have any idea who robbed you?
Best idea in the world.
Yeah.
Spent a couple of hours with him last night.
Yeah?
You see, what happened is this. Like I said, the convention was over yesterday and wound up about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And, well, I had the whole evening ahead of me, nothing to do.
Go ahead.
I had dinner there at the hotel, a couple drinks.
Yeah.
Stole too early to go to bed, so I thought I'd look the town over, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Stopped by Pershing Square and listened to those characters spouting off, and along about 10 o'clock, I headed back toward the Greystone. Passed the bar and decided to go in for a nightcap.
Do you remember the name of the bar?
No, I'm afraid not. It's just a couple blocks from the hotel, though. Had a nice little combo in there, played pretty good music. So I sat around for a while.
Yeah.
I guess I had a little too much to drink. Oh, I wasn't drunk or anything like that, but had my share.
Mm-hmm.
It must have been a little higher. I wouldn't have got started talking to a couple of strangers the way I did.
Yeah.
They were sitting next to me, these two fellows. We got to chatting, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It was about music at first. They seemed to be enjoying it. One thing led to another, and they bought me a drink, and then I had to pay them back, of course.
Yes, sir.
Asked me what line I was in. I told them I sold watches. Said I was in town for the jewelry convention. They took it real big, said that's why they were here, too. Claimed they had a jewelry store in Salt Lake City.
They mentioned their names?
Oh, sure. They introduced themselves, but it didn't sink in. Not their last names, anyhow. George and Paul. Yeah, that's all I can remember.
Mm-hmm. What happened then?
Well, they started complaining about the quality of the watches they'd been shown. Said they hadn't seen anything worth buying. Well, so I asked them if they'd looked at my samples, and they said they didn't think so.
Mm-hmm.
I offered to make an appointment to show them my stuff. Figured I could stay over an extra day on the chance of making a good sale. And they said that wouldn't be necessary for me, you know, to stay over. Said they could meet me this morning before I left for the airport.
Well, did you set up an appointment?
Yes, sir. I told them it'd have to be early if I was still going to catch my plane, and that was fine with them. The earlier, the better. Agreed to meet me at 7 a.m. They even offered to drive me to the airport. Couldn't ask for anything more than that, could I?
No, sir.
Well, anyway, I come downstairs about 7:15 and checked out, and they were supposed to pick me up in front of the hotel.
Yeah.
Well, about 5 or 7, they come by. I hopped in the car, and we drove off. And we hadn't gone more than a mile or so, and they pulled over and parked. Quiet street, not much traffic.
Mm-hmm.
I asked them why they were stopping there. I figured on showing them my watches out at the airport. They said they wanted to look at them now.
What was that again?
They said that they want to look at them right now, in the car.
The watches?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
And it struck me as kind of funny. I didn't see where it would make any difference. And I opened up the case, and they just sort of glanced inside. And then one of the fellows, the one named George, he took out a gun and started shoving me through the door. And I tried to argue with him. I wasn't getting anywhere, though.
Pulled a gun, huh?
Yeah. And he, kind of pushed me with it.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, I asked him to please at least give me my suitcase. I said it wouldn't be worth anything to them, but I needed it. And they tossed it out on the street beside me and drove off.
I see. What about your wallet?
Hmm?
Did they take your wallet, too?
Oh, no, just the sample case. I guess they were in a hurry, didn't want to spend a lot of time there in the street in broad daylight or something.
I see.
As soon as they left, I started looking around for a cab. Had to walk a couple of blocks before I found one. And then I got him to bring me right here.
Mm-hmm. What kind of a car did they drive, do you know?
The fellows that robbed me?
That's right.
Sedan. I think it was black. A Ford.
Mm-hmm. Did you get the license?
No, I didn't even think of trying that until after they were out of sight.
Well, now, can you describe these men for us, please?
Well, sure. Well, they were about 40, medium-sized. George had black hair. And the other fellow, he had sort of sandy hair,
I see. Any marks or scars?
I don't think so.
How were they dressed?
Suits. Conservative. Blue or kind of gray, maybe. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm. Were they wearing the same clothes this morning?
Well, no, I don't know. They had on top coats today.
I see.
Now, you said their names were George and Paul.
Yeah, that's right.
Anything else that might help us identify them?
Gosh, I'm afraid not.
Do you have a list of serial numbers from your watches?
Well, yes.
May we see it?
It's in my wallet. Yeah, just a minute. There you go.
Oh, thanks very much. I'll get out a circular, Joe.
Okay.
Is there anything else you want from me?
Yes, sir. We'd like to have you show us the bar where you met these men.
Well, no, sir, I'm not sure I can. A lot of bars in the neighborhood, and I didn't pay too much attention.
Mm-hmm. You said they had a combo there?
Yeah.
Well, that ought to make it easier.
Well, I'll sure do my best.
Yes, sir.
I have to get my airline ticket changed, too.
We'd appreciate it if you could stay over a couple of days.
Oh?
In case we turn them up, we'll need you to identify them.
Well, there isn't much chance of that, is there?
How do you mean?
Well, the descriptions I gave you could be anybody.
Yeah.
Besides, the company will want me back on the job. That is, if they don't fire me for this.
Well, you aren't the only thing they'll want back.
Huh?
They'll want those watches, too. Frank and I checked the M.O. and the descriptions Russell Liggins had given us with the stats office. They came up with 11 possibles. We took the names to R&I and pulled the packages. Liggins was unable to identify any of the mug shots. 10:13 a.m., we cruised the vicinity of the Greystone Hotel looking for the bar where Liggins had first met the suspects. He told us the Green Hat Cafe on 6th Street seemed familiar, but he wasn't certain. We left him in the car and we went inside to interview the bartender.
Look, you boys know me. I run a nice, clean place. Don't even cut the liquor.
Yeah, sure.
I ain't caused you no trouble. Why don't you lay off?
Just a couple of questions for you, Sam.
Sure. A couple of questions. Next thing I know, I'm testifying in court.
You got something you ought to testify about?
No, of course not. I'm just talking.
Well, then talk to us, huh?
Okay. What do you want?
You on the job here last night?
Yeah.
All evening.
All evening. I got a little combo working in the joint now. They cost money. There's nothing left over for extra bartenders.
You see that fellow out in the car?
Where?
Right over here, Sam. Lean over. See? Out there.
Yeah, I see him.
Take a good look at him.
All right, I look good.
He ever been in your place?
Like when?
Last night.
The bar was real crowded last night. Music helps the business.
Mm-hmm.
He might have been here.
Well, yes or no, Sam?
Yeah, he was here.
Alone?
Yeah, he came in alone.
Mm-hmm.
He took that stool over there, had a few drinks, and left.
Mm-hmm. Did he talk to anybody?
He talked to me.
What'd he say?
He liked the music. That's about all.
Who else he talked to?
A girl sitting next to him.
Who was she?
Well, I don't know her name. She comes in once in a while, kind of nice looking.
There were a couple of men in here, too, weren't there, Sam?
Well, there were a lot of guys. Why?
Well-dressed, middle-aged?
Could be.
They talked to him, too, did they?
The fella in your car?
Same guy, yeah.
Well, if they did, I didn't see him.
Had quite a conversation.
I didn't hear it. Music's pretty loud.
Who were they, Sam?
Look, I don't ask for a driver's license unless the guy looks like he's under
Come
21.
on, Sam. Who are they?
He's conning you.
Hmm?
That friend of yours out there.
Yeah.
End stool, that's where he sat.
Uh-huh.
The girl was next to him the whole evening.
Well?
He couldn't have talked to nobody else.
We took Liggins into the Green Hat Cafe, and he said he was certain that was where he had met the two men known as George and Paul. Sam Hupple, the owner of the bar, was equally certain that Liggins was mistaken. 10:48 a.m. Frank and I drove Liggins over to the Greystone Hotel. While he went inside to re-register, we talked with the cab drivers who were stationed at the stand next to the main hotel entrance. One of them told us he had been parked there from about 6:30 until 7:15 a.m. that morning.
Thought I was never going to give me a fare. When it starts like that, the whole day's shot. Look at me now. Been sitting here for the last 25 minutes.
Uh-huh. Did you see a man come out of the hotel about 5 minutes to 7?
I was watching those doors real anxious. If he came out, I saw him.
Same fellow we just let off.
Oh,
You remember him?
sure.
Did you notice the car he drove off in?
You kidding?
What do you mean?
This hack of mine.
Huh?
He was my first fare this a.m.
You picked him up here.
That's right. Wasn't 5 or 7, though. Closer to 7:30.
Where'd you take him?
City Hall.
We went into the hotel and talked to the desk clerk. He told us that Liggins had been assigned the same room he had previously occupied, 417. He also told us that he was almost positive Liggins had not carried a sample case when he checked out that morning. We talked to the bellhop who had brought down Liggins' baggage. He said Liggins had only one suitcase. 11:13 a.m. Frank and I went up to room 417.
Come in. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's very kind of you. Oh, I'll be with you as soon as I get off the phone.
It's okay.
Yes, sir. Well, a day or two, I guess, if that's all right. No, they didn't take my money. Thanks, I can manage. Oh, just one thing. Would you ask one of the girls to call my wife and explain the delay? Oh, thank you very much, sir. Bye. Well, I was just talking to the boss in Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
Says it's all right for me to stick around a few days.
Good.
Now, you really think you can find those guys that fast, huh?
Well, we may not have to look for him.
What do you mean?
We've been checking your story, Liggins.
Yeah?
Leaks like a sieve.
Oh, that lousy bartender, huh? You taking his word against mine?
No, we got more than the bartender.
Oh?
The cab driver says he picked you up here at 7:20 and drove you down to City Hall.
Well, he's crazy.
You can have it in person.
He must have picked up somebody who looks like me, that's all.
We talked to the bellhop who brought down your luggage. There wasn't any sample case.
I carried it myself. I wasn't going to let a bellhop handle something as valuable as that.
Mm-hmm.
He just didn't notice it, that's all.
The desk clerk didn't notice it either.
Well, I stood in front of his desk when I paid up. That's why.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys want from me?
Just tell us what happened to the sample case.
I've told you the whole story.
There was one thing you left out.
What's that?
The truth.